All right. Well, hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Tech Tip Tuesday. My name's Ken Close, coming to you live from the kind of blustery, coldy, rainy, fall-y kind of day in the Pacific Northwest over here. Thus, my favorite hoodie. Everybody got to keep myself warm. So, it is starting to show signs of fall over here, but hey, it's what I live here for. So again, my name's Ken Close. I'm a member just like most of you guys. My background's in engineering. I've been with Healy, loving it for a few years now. And I am joined by my awesome co-host, Jake Barron, head of operations over there in Orlando. Hey, Jake.
Hey Ken, hey everyone, and it is not blustery or cold here in Orlando, Florida. It is thick in the middle of summer still here, and rainy, yeah, because there's a storm passing to the north of us. So
Wow, we both got rain, so awesome, I
yeah,
guess. Anyway, so and we have our amazing tech support guru Anthony's joining us tonight in the green
yeah,
room in the background. Hey Anthony, thank you for being here.
thank you.
Everybody say hello to Anthony.
Uh,
So I love having a customer service rep live on the calls. I mean, there's just really nothing we haven't been able to really solve except for some brand new stuff. Sometimes there's that kind of thing. But then of course we got Jake here with the latest and greatest information from corporate. So it is awesome to have this group and be able to unpack this thing. So let me tell you a little bit how Tech Tip Tuesday works if you haven't been here before. This is a chat-based forum. What we do is you put your questions into the chat. We will then unpack those questions. We will do the best we can to solve them. And then even providing links and things there for you guys that you can even save that chat later on after the call. What we can't do is we can't talk about anything that has to do with disease, disorder, or any kind of prevention or treatment of such. There's some great resources for that, and we can refer you out to those resources that we have. So hopefully you guys got some cool questions for us tonight. Are you guys ready to go?
think so.
I'm ready. All right, let's see what we got, guys. Fire it up. Let's see. So we got one right out of the chute here about, looks like we have someone who has 3 Healys that used on 2 different devices, and with the Blue Dot and the Resonance app. On a Samsung, so apparently using the Android version. One version was using a version 11, another one using the version 9. And then there was a Blue Dot update, and now having some trouble, looks like, connecting with the Bluetooth. And some of the question about, let's see, about location services. So this is a pretty good question because when we're setting up our app, when we're setting up our Healy, you load the brand new app onto your device. Now, number one, these apps do have a minimum operating system. Okay, whether you're using Android or the iOS iPhone systems, in the app itself, it's going to tell you. Now, I know in some they give you actual models of what hardware is compatible with this app. But for the most part, they were going to give you the minimum operating system that's necessary to operate this app. And 11 is one that is necessary for the Apple. And depending on the device, so is it in the Android. But you can see in the app itself which version of software you need, a minimum version of software. Now, this is the software for your smart device. Whatever that minimum operating system needs to be is going to have an influence on how well that app performs on that smart device. So that's number one. I want to make sure everybody's understanding that and clear about that. So the smart device, some of the older smart devices are having some functional issues because we've gotten some new platforms and these new apps that we're using right here beside me. The new pink app and the new blue app, the Healy 2 version and the Healyvisor Analyse 2 version. But so that being said, we want to move right into the Bluetooth issue. There's a question around the Bluetooth, and we've been seeing some of the issues with Bluetooth. One of the concerns is folks enabling the location services when you first load these apps, it's going to ask you to turn on certain features, permissions, right? Permissions for the app to utilize your smart device's components, such as the camera, location services, things like that. You got to give these permissions to the app so the app can function properly. So some of those things are important. But there has been some Bluetooth things. Jake, you want to talk about some of the, I know there's been some reports around some Bluetooth things lately.
Yeah, I know Anthony's helping out with some people in the chat that have some issues with the original Analyze app. I guess some people are calling it the Analyze 1 app now because we have the Analyze 2 app. But yeah, so the issue, there was an update to the original Analyze app, I think about a week or so ago now, and iOS, Apple devices, iOS are fine. There's no issue. There's an issue that's affecting some older Android devices that are running on the older operating system. So like Android 11 versus Android 13, and it appears certain older Android devices, like they can't be updated. They don't have the ability to be updated to the most current version. And that's causing some issues with Bluetooth connectivity related to, I think it's, from what it seems, our developers are aware of this and they're working on a solution for the people that are having this issue, but it seems to be related to what you mentioned, location services. But in older versions, it was something like enable nearby devices, but it's been kind of replaced with this location services in the newer version. So they're working on a fix for that. They're aware of the issue. They don't have a time frame as far as what we, when we think an update will be available, but the fact that they're kind of narrowed down to what's causing this particular issue, I think we'll have a solution, fairly soon on this one.
Yeah, and there's the app developers are, just like most other apps, are building solutions and building patches, and so a newer version comes up, an update. We'll just keep an eye on that. One of the things too, remember folks, that when we're using anything that is operating at its minimalistic capability, so in other words, I always use the analogy, coming from some of the agricultural world, if I was using a tractor barely capable of pulling the plow through the field, right, over time, I'm going to task that tractor. It's probably going to fail on me. But if I have something that's over and above the capability of what I want to do in the field, typically it lasts a long time. So when we're using these smart devices, and I know it's like, I got an old smart device, I might as well use it with my Healy, but yet the operating system is the minimum, or even below the minimum. Like we said, version 11 is kind of this lowest version, yet some people might try to be using version 9. Well, I promise you there's going to be some compatibility issues. Now, if it should be version 13, right, then that's what we want to try to have. And some of the older hardware, these smart devices just won't be able to be updated to the most current version. And this is not just Healy, everybody. Please understand that app developers build products for the most current hardware on the market, because the hardware has a better ability to operate this software, right, to do the functions that the app was designed to do, just at a better, more efficient way. So Healy just launched the Analyse 2 app for very good reasons, to improve and bring it more current to what we've been wanting it to do anyway, right? So hopefully that helps, guys. Just stay tuned. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, was this I know we kind of went off on the Bluetooth issue, but is the one that were from James about the two Healys hooked up to the two different phones? The Healy app connects fine, but in the Analyze app, the databases won't load. It gets redirected to the Healy.shop start page, and all the programs are updated. So, this one doesn't seem like a Bluetooth connection issue. It seems like there could be some sort of activation issue, possibly where it says maybe for some reason it's showing it doesn't have access to certain of these, the residence module or a module, something like that, where it's directing him to go purchase them rather than move forward. Or as Anthony's, I think, helping out in the chat here too, for in the new Analyse app, you actually get redirected to a website that appears within the app when you're logging in. You type in your shop credentials, and then it does the database, the sync, pulls all the information down, and then you can go from there. So it looks like it could be either one or both or a combination of those things there. But yeah, Anthony's, thank you for helping out with that one there.
Yeah, absolutely. The Bluetooth and directing to a website, two different things. So Bluetooth is hardware within our smart device. A directional beacon within an app is essentially a link. So yeah, like Jake said, if there's some issue with it knowing your account, and and you have a residence or above, and it doesn't think so, then that's a login thing. I would definitely try logging out and then back in and see if if it happens again. There is a question here about, is the hurricane going to affect the operations of Healy? Now, remember, Healy's mainframe is not here.
It's our staff here might have some interruptions, but we're pretty far. We're in Orlando, which is pretty much the central Florida, and this hurricane's going quite a bit north, so we're gonna be pretty fortunate here that it's not hitting us directly, other than some outer bands that might roll through tonight and to tomorrow. So everything's fine. No issues here, no interruptions at all.
And that's awesome, right? And I also know that the server that operates Healy is also not in Orlando.
Yeah.
It's safe. Don't worry. And believe me, there's redundant power backups. There's all kinds of things to safety protocols to keep things running, no matter what, right? So, okay. Let's see what else we got. So Lisa's getting some help there. She's got several issues going on with the Blue Dot app 1 and 2. So several issues. Interesting. We'll talk about those, find out what those are. I have had some reports of folks having Bluetooth issues. I personally don't know. I'm running a Apple. I'm running an Apple, an iPhone 13, and the latest software with it, and both my my Blue Dot 2 and my Pink Dot 2 both work fine. I can actually even go on to the older versions and function there as well. I've been doing some testing to see. So just in case maybe some folks are using the older software or the older apps, I do all kinds of experiments, and mine's very stable. Okay, so what else we got?
There's some other issues related to the, I believe, the Analyse 2 app, not the original one, where it cannot get it to work on either phone with any of the 3 Healys that have the residence module. At first, it wouldn't connect to the program pages, so the individual programs, beauty, stimulation, gold, etc. But just the databases like Bach flower, Alaskan gem elixirs, vital substances. When you try to connect to those pages to do a scan for within that database, it just kept spinning, showing the spinning circle, and never connected. Same thing with both phones and all 3 Healys. And today she cannot get either phone to get past the first notice page. So when you first open the app, it gives you the notice, then nothing's happening after she hits next. So, if you haven't tried it, I would delete that app and try, turning off your phone, turning it back on and reinstalling it. It seems like there's some sort of connection issue, sync issue, maybe something else related to that. But if you were able to get in before and at least get to those other pages and they work properly, now you can't even get to those pages. It seems like maybe there's a bug with the install on your device itself. I know you said you mentioned it with on multiple phones, but that I would try that first and then go from there. If you still can't get anything else to recommend before she would need to go ahead and reach out to our tech support team.
Yeah, so this is Lisa, and
Yeah.
so the a couple things to start at the beginning, ensuring that the smart devices you're using is up to date on the software. Okay, so let's just look at that first of all. Secondly, I always start with the outlet and then work my way back to the appliance if something's broke down, right? So we have to start at the power supply, the power source, aka the smart device is the source or the hardware that actually runs the apps. Okay, so this is where we start, making sure that the hardware itself has the proper up-to-date software or above the minimum threshold. I don't like the minimum, but we'll at least go there. Number two, the amount of memory allocations available, how much memory is left on that smart device. So in other words, if this smart device is 128 gig smart device and you've used 127 gig of memory within apps, in files and photos and videos and whatever, there's just not enough resources available for the processor on that smart device to do the work necessary, the complicated and complex functions of the app. There's just not enough room, not enough memory resources. So making sure you have at least 25% of the overall memory available to free space. Okay, 25%. All right, if it's 100 gig, you want to have 25 gig available, free space. And so then from that point, as Jake mentioned, since it's something, you just converted over or just loaded the new, the version number 2, the new app version 2, delete it, turn your phone off, completely off, or shut it all the way off, turn it all the way back on. The reason is because every time you delete an app, doesn't matter if it's Healy or anybody else, when you delete an app, there could be residual functions still connected to some of the buses or some of the cache systems within your smart device. So by shutting it off, it helps to delete all of those links. Okay, shut it off, turn it back on, and then download the app, not from the cloud, but from the app store. That's kind of be the same, but you go to the app store, open the app, or look at the app, search for it, and then click on open. It's going to say open probably because you've already had it before. And then let it load to your smart device and go through the process. Now, I want to add one more step, folks. In the interim, when you've got your smart device off, do a hard reset on your Healy. All right, so that means to press and hold the on button until that green light comes on steady. Once that green light comes on steady, release the on button and it'll stay on for about 3 seconds, then go off. Okay, now when you reinstall that new app, you're going to have pretty much a fresh connection. It's going to ask you all the new questions, aka location services on. In other words, what it does is often you only have that one time to give permission to the app to connect to various parts of your smart device. And if you deny permission, going back to the settings and trying to turn that on won't be able to be done. So make sure you follow the process in the initial setup and give it the permissions needed, right? You could turn them off later, but it's better to turn them on now. All right, and then go through that process. Hopefully that helps. I'd be really interested to see how that turns out for you. Okay. Here's one for the Bluetooth problems in the older Androids. Would the new Blue app fix that, or do they have to wait for the fix? Would they have to get a new phone for the Analyse 2 to run? It wouldn't necessarily have to get a new phone. And the new Analyse 2 app would not necessarily fix the blue dot or the Bluetooth thing.
Yeah, it won't fix the issue with the old app, but we are recommending anyone that has this issue to go ahead and just start using the Analyse 2 app, because we found the people that have that issue, the Bluetooth connection issue with the original Analyse app, are not having that issue with the new Analyse 2 app. So that's certainly the way to go, because eventually, that's going to be the default app going forward. So.
Awesome. Okay. Well, here's a reference to Dr. McMakin. What do you consider soft tissue? Dr. McMakin talks about soft tissue for the MagHealy. Is that like the bruises, the muscles, tendons? So soft tissue, anything that's not bone, right? That's kind of soft tissue. I would also recommend, she's got her book, the what's that called? The frequency. I'll give you a minute.
Resonance effect.
The resonance effect. There we go.
Yeah.
She's got a great book out that I recommend to everybody to read, The Resonance Effect, because it does talk about how frequencies interface with the body. Okay, so Lisa says, I have uninstalled and reinstalled and no change. I have 2 phones and they're only used for Healy, not even activated as a phone. And whether they're activated as a phone or have a phone number or not, is sometimes actually that's sometimes worse, because if your Wi-Fi isn't a broad enough band, in other words, the bandwidth isn't greater, it's too slow, you may have some issues. Now the new apps are really much better at allocating bandwidth or working within narrower bandwidths. But if there is something going on with Wi-Fi and it loses connection, it loses download authentication, then it's going to start you over and you could get that little spinny thing forever. So sometimes having the cellular network data where you can get off the Wi-Fi, go to cellular network data and download and open these apps is beneficial. So one of the things, Lisa, I want to recommend is you can also, and I recommend this to most of you guys, if you're having some issues with downloads, periodically turn your router off, right? Power down that router. Just like, say, your smart device or Healy updates, a router gets updates also, and you need to cycle it off and back on sometimes to get those updates to actually sync into the hardware. So there's nothing wrong with turning your router off for a bit. It only takes about 30 seconds. Turn it off for 30 seconds, turn it back on, and any updates that were on your system, right? Whoever your provider is, will then update that hardware, the router, and may solve some of the glitches or bugs that your internet provider is having. These updates are not just for the apps. The reason we have updates for the software on our smart devices, we have updates for the software on our routers, we have updates for the software, on our computers, right? All these updates are because there was bugs or problems or some patch that needed to be installed. And it doesn't happen until we power down and power back off. How many of you guys understand when you do a new update, your computer asks you to restart, doesn't it? Same thing with your router, same thing with your phone, same thing with the Healy app. Okay.
Yeah, and Anthony was helping someone else out in the chat too with a connection issue with the Analyse 2 app on an iPhone. And one of the tips, of course, that we always recommend, some people don't realize that their home Wi-Fi network might be operating under a VPN. And with the Analyse app, that will prevent you from being able to use that app properly. So that's something to look into. If it's not working on multiple phones and multiple Healy devices, and you're using your home Wi-Fi network, maybe check to see if you do have a VPN operating, and if so, turn that off and then try again too. In addition to what Ken said as far as restarting your router and everything.
And if you don't know what a VPN is, look it up on YouTube. You'll find out.
Yeah.
It's a security protocol. So
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, where are we? After the app transfers, here's a question or a comment. After the app transfers the program to Healy, and I check on the battery in the upper right corner and then click on the pink button to turn off Wi-Fi, and then switch off. It works for about 30 seconds. And then the program ends. I had a previous Healy for 6 months and it worked perfectly. I just bought the second Healy and had really enjoyed these features of running free of my phone. So when you say turns off, I want to let's understand for a moment what indicates that this Healy is turned off or not. Obviously, if there's no lights flashing on it, it's off. Yes. So when we turn it on, the green light begins to flash, and I don't know if you can see it, but the green light begins to flash, and that means it's on. Now, if there's a program loaded into this Healy, it's going to start running within a few seconds of you turning it on. It's going to start running. Whatever the last program was on it, it's going to start running. Now, if it's a brand new setup, this is a different story, but I want you to understand this one is established and already has done work before. It's going to start running the pink app, whatever that last program was within the pink app. And that green light, whether I even start my app or not, is going to flash through the entire timed sequence of that program. If it goes off early for any reason, there could be a fault, or if I'm connected to the device, I could be resonant with all the frequencies that that program is allocated for me, and the program is no longer needed, and it'll shut off early. That's normal. So, however, if you've loaded a program from the app, you've gone up to, like was referred to here in the Healy 2 app, gone up to the battery icon, tapped on that battery icon, went down and turned Bluetooth off, the green light should still continue to run. All right, but the app itself will go off. It will have no data transfer because you've turned Bluetooth off. There's no communications between the smartphone and the Healy hardware anymore. So the Healy hardware is just independently running on its own. If Healy shuts off, then we either have a low battery function or there is some reset transmission from the app prior to you turning it off, which that's rare. Or like I said, the program has come to its completion. So we want to make sure that we're looking at all those kind of things. It should operate through its entire program timed interval, whatever that program is designed for. So let's see, there's some Anthony's put some contact information or some information in there to help you out also.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So here Lisa came up and said, looked online and found that her Android version is 10, operating system 10. So again, when you can go to the app, folks, go to your app store, take a look at the app that you're trying to run. This is true of any app, not just Healy, but go to the app store and look up if it's the Heal Advisor Analyze 2. Go ahead and look at that, look it up for your device. So let's just do it right now. The Heal Advisor Analyze 2 app. Now, when you go there, don't tap on the open button, right? Tap on like the icon or this little symbol right here. And it's going to open the window to give you some information about the app. All right. So under there's drop down arrows that give you content like things as far as the version history. Scroll down, and you'll see some things around iPhone, iPad, or hardware compatibility. Tap on that, and you're going to see what devices are It's going to tell you, like, for instance, how big the app is, how much memory it's going to require on your smart device, who made it, some people who it's made for, some of the things about that. But there's a spot in there that tells you about which hardware this will work with. It says compatibility or something like that. Tap on it and you'll see what I mean. It'll tell you either it's looking at your account and the hardware that you're actually searching from in this moment, and it'll say compatible with this hardware, meaning whatever device you've got, you're looking at it from, it's going to say it's compatible with that one. So you got the thumbs up kind of thing. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, and Ken, so Android 10, that was released 4 years ago. So that's a long time as far as operating systems go. As far as the new minimum, yeah, I mean, you want to upgrade it to as Android 13, from what I see, is the current one, but there's an Android 14 coming out. It looks like either this month or next month too. So, yeah, as whatever operating system you're able to update your device to, go as current as possible, for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, go to your Google Play Store and you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see that when you look at that app, it's going to give you the qualifications necessary, the minimum operating qualifications necessary from your hardware to allow this software to function. And like I said, if you're at that minimum, or below that minimum, there's going to be some glitches. Okay. Awesome. And Lisa says, oh, I do have a VPN on. Okay, perfect. You see, this is why you're here, because you're going to solve everything. You can have everything all fixed up. All right. I'm a bit behind.
Let's see. Thank you so much, Anthony. It's for helping out with almost every single one of these questions here. It makes Ken and I's job a little bit more difficult scrolling through all the things here. But thank you so much for helping out here. This is great.
If we expand on something you've already answered, well,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, VPN. Oh, so also Regina had the question where she couldn't, she could use demo mode, but not the regular login mode in the Analyse 2 app. So she tried some things with her network, but it says it's still running in demo mode. It didn't ask me to log into shop. So it sounds like you still haven't logged out of demo mode, because if you're still in demo mode and then you go back and open up the app, it's not going to ask you to log in, take you to that login page and log into shop. You actually have to go back into demo mode and go to your account section. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, there'll be a log out button. And then after you log out, close out the app and open it again. And then it'll start the process where you can go to demo mode in the top right, or you can log in, and then it'll ask you to put in your credentials there too. So
yeah, so walk through it. At the bottom of the screen in the Heal Advisor Analyse 2 app, at the bottom of the screen, you've got a settings tab, a little gear, the bottom right. Tap on that bottom right gear. Then it gives you your account, right? You can tap on your account. It gives you the ability to log out. And you can basically log out, and when you go back in, it's going to ask you to log in or go into demo mode, right? So you log in and it'll pull down your credentials, right? So, I mean, all the things associated with your account. It'll pull that down and populate the app with your information. Okay. The cool thing about the demo mode is it's kind of this ghost position, right? There's really no way associated with it. Doesn't save anything. This is what's nice about having that demo function.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let's see. So we have to, let's see. So Lisa said something about, so we have to constantly buy new phones every 2 years or so. Well, hardware, yes. I mean, I'm sorry to say, hardware gets outdated. Technology is continuing to move forward. Now, this is the same with your computer. How many people have a 10-year-old computer that still does current software functions? If you've had some software that requires an update every couple of years, I promise you it will outgrow your hardware. I promise you. There's not a 10-year-old computer out there that really still runs current software, because they keep changing the speeds in which let's put it this way. Our requirement to do more in less time is why technology keeps changing, to make it faster, better, stronger, bigger. So we're the ones asking for it.
Okay, while we're quickly back to the other topic here, I just wanted to share, this is a slide from a little bit before, but showing how to, if you're in demo mode in the new Analyse 2 app, you'll see here, when you're in demo mode at the top, you'll see it says demo mode. And if you go, Kenny, as you mentioned, click the gear icon, go to settings, and then at the bottom there, log out of demo mode. And then you should be good to go from there. And it'll take you, when you open the app again, you'll go to this screen here, where you can agree to the terms and conditions, click sign in, then it'll take you to that page where you can log in with your shop credentials.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, so let's see. I think somebody's commenting on the amount of memory. Keep taking it to add more space. You know, the more that we're able to do with our hardware, okay, understand that it requires more things happening per second. All right. And in order for more things to happen per second requires faster processing speeds. Just look at the logics. I'm an engineer, and I know if we want to push the envelope of the capability of anything, it doesn't matter if it's a bridge across a river or if it is a piece of mechanical device like a tractor I mentioned earlier. If we want to push the capability of this hardware, this physical, tangible matter, we have to be able to increase its potential, no matter what it is. So this is what's happening. This is how we've evolved over, eons. Take a look at the automobile of today versus one of 100 years ago. I mean, if we went back in time 100 years and tried to operate one of those vehicles, we'd be lost, right? Because so many of the functions that would have to happen for us just to get the thing to start has been done automatically. And so our brains now think in different operating systems. And so we wouldn't really know how to start things from the fundamental process of igniting some kind of a internal combustion process. Right. So things have gotten easier for us, folks. Even programmers, I don't know if there's any programmers out there, you guys. Once upon a time, I remember when I started in engineering school, we programmed with binary codes, ones and zeros. And now you've got a whole language that does so much of that for you. You just almost plug and play and you got a program. All right. How many of you guys use spreadsheets? All right. Instead of a piece of paper with all those little grids and numbers and adding and subtracting, there's algorithms that does a lot of work for you in the background now. All right. So Regina says, thanks, Jake. However, did not integrate my content and data over to the Heal Advisor 2 app. Okay. There is a synchronization agreement. Now let's see, we haven't started the new process yet. So everybody who has the original Heal Advisor app has the unlimited client lists. So try it again.
Yeah, you should be able to get your clients the first time you log into the Analyse 2 app. You should get a message about migrating clients over if you had clients stored in the cloud in the original Analyze 2 app. If you were just using demo mode in the old Analyze app, none of those would be synced over. But if you had them stored in the cloud, it should have the option to migrate, but it's just the client. It's not the list that can migrate it over either. So if you're looking for the complete set of all lists and prior history, that kind of thing, that's not one of the things that are able to be migrated into the new app.
All right. Let's see, where are we? I love that comment. Julia says, watch a teenager's brain fry looking at a rotary phone. No kidding. It's like, what's this thing? Oh, I hear you. Again, it's all relative, isn't it? Here's one. Let's see. When wearing the wristbands, does it matter what side of the wrist you have the electrodes? I noticed your electrodes are on the inside of your wrist. Most of the pictures show that the snap is on the top of the wrist, I think. And you're right. And that's correct. It doesn't really matter. In Anthony's in there giving all kinds of great content. As you notice, your app's pictures, right? Your app picture is going to show a little dot, little circle, and what looks like on the back side of a wrist, right? A hand is kind of like this, a little dot right there. And it shows the snap connected to it. It's just basically trying to give you reference, right? Reference content for you to understand what you're doing. However, the little circle on the app and these wristbands, right, on the wrist can be interchanged. So you can use the sticky pads, the little dots on the wrist, or you can use the wristbands. And no matter where you place the sticky pad, on the bottom of your wrist or on the top of your wrist, even at the top of the hand, if you've got conduction, meaning the app itself, the pink dot, we're talking about the pink app, is giving you an indication that there is current flow, then it's working. I put my wristbands on and I put the snap at the bottom of my wrist only for convenience. So the wire is under my arm. I actually even run it in my sleeve and out the collar of my shirt, so I don't have wires really. I'm very active. I mean, I'm out I'm out doing all kinds of stuff, from painting the house to exercising to meeting with clients, whatever it is. I am doing it all the time, and I'm doing it with my Healy. So I have it. Sometimes I have it down in my shirt. Nobody can see it. A lot of times I have it out because people ask me questions. Hey, what is that? Right. But my point is like I have the wristbands on a lot and I have the wires connected. They're on the bottom simply for convenience. Understand, the moment you connect this wire to this snap, the wristband itself is one continuous electrical circuit around your entire wrist. So no matter which position I have this snap on my wrist, the conductivity between the band and my body is the same. The cool thing about the band is that it is about 7/8 of an inch wide, and depending on the diameter of your wrist, the surface area contact, this is just physics, folks, the surface area contact between one of these sticky pads and your skin is 1.2 inches. Okay, that's the surface area contact. The wristband is over 5 inches. In some cases, it's even more of surface area contact, meaning that the potential for current flow into your body is way higher with the more surface area contact. I'm not saying these are not effective. I'm just saying that is a difference. And it is a big difference when people are having a struggle connecting electronically with your Healy. So the wristbands could be more effective for you. All right. But where that button is irrelevant. You can even put this wristband higher on your arm. Some folks have, I mean, I don't mean to, say anything about the ladies, but a lot of ladies have really small wrists. And sometimes when you strap on this buckle and the amount of area of the Velcro is not enough. So move it higher up on your arm. It's okay to do that. You can move it up on your arm to a larger area of your arm. You can even put it above the elbow. So my point is that you want to make sure you get it to where it's comfortable and it's getting good conductivity, and you're good to go, right? So the Healy helps to monitor that for you, by the way. If you've seen the message that frequencies are flowing but no conductivity, that means you got to do some work to get it changed. Okay.
Yeah, we got a question. It came in to me here, but I think it's worth discussing from the group. It says, each program in the Healy app, whether you're using microcurrent or the coil, it has an indicated time or runtime duration listed there. And the question was, how is it that some programs can finish well before that runtime? So that, we talk about that quite a bit. So I definitely, it's a great question because it's one we get quite a bit here on the call, but that's the maximum duration that the program will run. And then as you're going through the Healy app, I want to share my screen here because this is worth showing. This is in the Healy app. It's available within the app itself. You can find the Healy app manual, or you can find it in your back office or in Academy now as well. But this is on page 6 of the Healy app manual. And this explains the different modes. When you're running a program in the Healy app, it goes through real-time mode, residence mode, and selection mode. So, and you'll notice in residence mode and selection mode, the frequencies are determined and applied in real time until they're no longer needed by the body. So same thing with the selection mode. You'll see here until they're no longer needed by the body. And that's the part of the program where the progress indicator shows up. So as the frequency is being applied there, you'll see anything from negative 100% to positive 100%. But once it reaches positive 95%, it's no longer needed by your body. You're resonating with that particular frequency, and it throws it out of the sequence and puts a new one in. So that's where there's it's variable as far as how long the program will run for you versus how long it might run for somebody else. Because if you're going through these frequencies, and maybe you have one that you really need, and it starts off at negative 90%, and then it loops back through the sequence, and it goes to negative 70, and it goes to negative. So there might be some for you that start way in the negative percent, for other people have a different frequency, and maybe it only starts at negative 10% or something like that, and it cycles through a lot quicker. So it might cycle through those frequencies until it goes through the whole sequence and quicker, because your body no longer needs those frequencies. So for a lot of people, yeah, it might run that full indicated duration, but for others, you might notice it might finish a couple minutes early there. So Ken, anything to add onto that?
Yeah, that's why it says maximum duration of the program. It doesn't say duration. It says maximum. So the maximum it's going to run is the 100 minutes, whatever it is, but it could run less. So it's always going to give you that maximum number, but it could run less for that exact reason, because Healy interfaces with the body it's attached to, and it's going to be different from each body. So yeah, this is one of the things I love about the Healy, is because I'm part of some of the biohacking conference in the technology that's out there, and almost every product on the market, when you set the timer and hit the start button, it runs for its entire duration, no matter what, whether your body is done or not, right? So, however, and look at a perfect example of this: a sauna, or a tanning bed, or infrared saunas. Any of these, you set the timer. It's not asking you, "Hey, you had enough yet?" it's not. It doesn't care. It's going to run all the way to the end of the timer. Healy is the only one that really asks permission of the body. I mean, it's really, to me, that is worth its weight in gold, because it's asking my body, not yours. Because the timer on that infrared sauna or whatever other system you're on is the same timer for me that it would be for you or anyone else that's sitting in there. But Healy is different for each of us. So yeah, I love that. I want to share my screen real quick here.
Okay.
And show you guys something, because there is a question here within about how do I know with the new app if I'm connected with this new app or the old app versus the new app. You remember the old app, the pink app had a white circle, black circle, that kind of thing. And I want to show you guys how you can tell, right, with this new Healy 2 app. How do you know if you're connected? Okay. Well, I just opened the pink app here. It shows the different devices I've been connected to in the past. I'll go ahead and choose one. I'll connect to it. And I'm going to show you quickly a couple of things. One is how you know if you are getting current flow. That's one thing, which is part of the question. And two, how you can test the hardware to see if there's some problem perhaps with you or whatever you're connected to. All right. So here's our list of programs. Let's just go to the gold cycle frequency programs. And I love the CARE program. It's one of my favorites. Now, as we talked earlier, the app shows you how to connect. Yes. So you see here, it's showing a couple of hands, little dot on the top, what looks like perhaps the top of the wrist, and then a wire lead connected to that. Now, remember what I said? You can supersede that for these wristbands and put that lead anywhere you wish on the circumference in orientation to the arm, however you want. It also shows you, like I mentioned before, like we were just saying, the maximum program duration is 46 minutes. Doesn't mean that that's the minimum, but that's the maximum. It can shut down earlier. Also tells you the connection electrodes on both hands. The application is recommended daily. And then also, if there were a polarity, how many of you guys have noticed on your Healy where the wires connect in there above that on the face of it is a plus and a minus? You notice that? Well, that's because we could be set up in terms of a certain polarity if the program warrants us to have current flow in a certain direction. So in other words, it could have the plus on the left hand, minus on the right hand, right? Here's where it would say if this was relevant or not. But in this particular case, it says the polarity of the electrodes is not. It's not relevant. You don't have to worry where you place those. Okay, so once we hit the start button, it starts to transmit that program from the app to the Healy hardware. Like I mentioned earlier, it goes into the memory of the Healy hardware and it's stored there. So like I said, when I'm done with this program, if I shut it all off, come out and start it again later, it'll start this program right here again, because that's what's in the memory. I don't even have to have the app. It'll start automatically. Now, here's the screen that shows that I'm running the CARE program and which frequency is being transmitted currently, 330 hertz. Just below that, there's this oscillating waveform. You see that? It's kind of a moving animation. And that's actually an indication that there's current flow. That's what it means. Now, you see that message right there? It says there's a frequency being generated, but no measurable current is flowing. Please to increase the intensity or check the connections. Now, this lower frequency, 50.3, well, now it's just changed again. The lower frequencies below about 400 hertz, sometimes 300 hertz. The lower the frequency, the more power it may take to get through the body. So know that some of these lower frequencies may not give current flow. And if you look at the bottom of the screen, it shows I'm only running at 15% right now. That's a 15% of the intensity of the current. So in other words, the microcurrent through my body, if the microcurrent is 200 milliamps and I'm only at 15%, that's a very small amount of milliamps, right? If I was at 100%, it'd be 200. If I was at 10%, it'd be 20 or 2. All right. So I can adjust this current flow at the bottom with the plus and the minus, and I can increase it until I get a good consistent flow in my body. And this is through the wristbands. Now, let me show you something So I just wanted to show you here how you can tell whether you're getting current flow or not. The question was, how do you know? The old app used to have a white, a black, or even a gray circle around the center icon. And in this app, we do not have that. We have that waveform. And then if there is zero current flow, in other words, if I disconnect one of these leads, it will tell me right there, that small text says that there is a frequency being generated, but look, there's a connection problem. Well, this is obvious. So if I reconnect, I fix that problem and it goes back into the flow. All right. Let's say that everything is connected, right? Your wires are connected, your wristbands are on, you just aren't getting any flow, and you keep increasing this intensity down here at the bottom of the screen, and you're getting nothing. All right. Well, a couple things to make sure of. One, we are properly hydrated as a body. Current flow doesn't work through a dehydrated body. It doesn't work. So proper hydration, proper electrolytes, and proper hydration means about half your body weight in ounces of water per day. It's important, folks. All right. Secondly, if we have a lot of lotions and potions and things on our body, that's going to be an insulator, deterring the current flow. All right. As mentioned in the question there is metal in someone's maybe their wrist or whatever, and we do want to make sure these electrodes are away from any metal implants. 6 inches, get it away from there. You could, that's why I said earlier, you can put it higher up on the arm, right? If you've got plates or something in the wrists, screws, whatever, you can put those wristbands somewhere else on your arm, or use the sticky pads to get away from that and still get current flow through the body. Okay. If all things are met and you're still not getting current flow, let me show you a quick little way to test if your hardware is okay. So take your wristbands off, keep your wires connected, right? Take your wristbands off, and you see I've lost signal, right? I'm going to take both my wristbands off. I've lost signal. Now, take your wristbands with the wires on the back side. See the wires on the back side. Take the part that would touch your wrists, hold it together. Hold that part that would normally be touching your skin, your wrists, right? These two pieces right here. Touch them together. And you should get current flow. You see that? This is the inside part of the wristband. The inside part that would touch your skin. Touch that together with the wire still connected. And this gives a very clear test that all your hardware is okay. If you weren't getting current flow, then it's the you wear. There's something up with you. Okay. And that's not a bad thing. It's just we go and we figure it out, right? We hydrate. We moisten our skin and then put the electrodes back on. Now, sometimes when you do this test I just demonstrated, you touch them together, you get no contact. Now, just lick your finger, moisten it a little bit, touch them together, and you'll see that that is a way of getting connection. Folks, don't be afraid to clean your wristbands. I know people that have used the same wristbands for a year and haven't cleaned them. Whew. They get a little funky, right? So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. But I want you guys to know that that's how you check your hardware. Now, you can clean these wristbands, just a pH neutral gel soap and some hot water. Shake them off, let them dry, and they're good to go. You're not going to hurt them. I clean mine like every 3 days. Why? Because I wear it a lot. All right. What else?
And we just have a couple minutes left. I want to share something on my screen before we go. So for those of you that have a MagHealy, you may have noticed today when you went to, hold on a second here. Let me make this full screen. Okay, so yes, so MagHealy. So you may have noticed if you went to log in today, or unlog in, if you want to connect to your MagHealy via the Healy app, you noticed there was a message that popped up that said new firmware available, essentially. This is that process. It's very simple to do. The new version is 0.2.27. It'll pop right up there, and then it says you just click got it, install now at the bottom. I did this earlier this morning on mine. It took about a minute or so for that firmware to be updated. It'll give you a message that says new firmware installed. And then after that, you just click complete firmware update at the bottom. And then you'll receive a confirmation message that says firmware update successful. Firmware version 3.0.2.27 has been successfully installed in your device. Click OK, and you're good to go. Again, it takes a minute or two, and then you have the most recent firmware update. Now, this is one of the great things with the MagHealy, because this is not possible to do these sort of over-the-air firmware updates on the Healy device, but they are possible with the MagHealy too, or with the MagHealy instead. So, so that's one thing wanted to share with you all, and then also wanted to mention this. So we've talked about this a few times, but we've been since the beginning of July, we've been doing this beta testing of live chat via our US shop. It's not in the support center or in the help center where you submit the tickets, but if you go to the US shop between 9 a.m. Eastern and 4:15 p.m. Eastern time, you'll see in the bottom right, this is the mobile version, but if you're on desktop, it looks the same, but just in the bottom right corner. If you click on that, you'll get this window on the right here. You put in your name, email address. You can pick tech support or customer care. Put in your message, and then you'll be connected with one of our agents. Might be talking with Anthony possibly during one of those live chats. But we encourage people to try this out. If you are thinking of submitting a ticket between those hours, go ahead and try out the live chat, because we've so far in the initial trial, we've been able to solve around 75% of all things that come in through live chat just in that initial chat session. Some things might take additional research and we have to move it into an actual ticket, but the process is seamless. It's not like you go to live chat, if for some reason we can't fix it right there, you don't have to go submit a ticket itself. The live chat is actually converted into a ticket. So then you're good to go, and then we'll just communicate via the ticket from there on as well. But it was actually just added to Canada shop today too. So both the US and Canada have this live chat available as well. So yeah, there's still a lot of things. We're gonna optimize this and add new features over the next couple of months. But it's an exciting step forward for us to be able to provide this live support for everybody. So check it out.
Priceless, everybody. Priceless. Yeah. Oh man. Hey, so you know what? We are at the end of our hour. Thank you guys very much. One last thing I want to close with, because this is pet month. We've been really focusing on the pets. And Lisa has a question about how do I know what the right intensity is for my dog when I'm running microcurrent. And so here's the key thing is our pets are very sensitive. It's always a good idea to start low and slowly raise things up. But like I said, look at the indicator. The app's going to tell you if you got current flow through their body. If there's current flow, that's enough. That's it. You don't need to go anymore. And the pet will become agitated or uncomfortable. You'll be able to tell because you know your pet. But just keep it low. It's best to stay low and easy, and ease them in because they are very open to energy frequencies. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for being here. Jake, Anthony, you guys are rock stars. I always love having you guys here. Audience, I really appreciate you. Without you, there's no us. So next week, same place. What's up Wednesday tomorrow? Take a look at our calendar.
And Frequencies and Friends on Friday.
On Friday. There we go. All right. Love you guys. See you next week. Ciao for now.